Welcome everyone, Claire here. Ladies Get Paid founder and author. We help women make more and live better. And in these job seeker support groups, it's a mix of encouragement, inspiration, real tangible tips. How do we up level during the process of finding work? And then breakouts so we can all connect with each other. I just want to throw it over to Jessica real quick because she's got good news about getting a job, but she went through a very long process of looking for work, but also interviewing. And so, yeah, just if you could talk a little bit about maintaining motivation throughout for yourself, but also how did you know that they were the right people with every interview that you had?
Yeah, definitely. Well, first of all, a lot of alcohol, a lot of friends, and a lot of therapy. No,
Okay.
but in all seriousness, I actually, what really kept me motivated, and there were times where I wasn't motivated at all. I was actually like, really going through it, and I was like, great, another rejection, and you really feel like you're kind of going through dating. It's like, oh, great, I just got rejected again. Nobody wants me. So it is hard to go through it, but I think groups like this were really helpful. I joined the one, I think it was 2 weeks ago, and that was really helpful to help me stay motivated. I also have affirmations and attestations. My daughter made one for me. I don't think if people can see it, it's a little blurry, but it says Slay Queen. So I keep that posted in front of my laptop and just look at it every time I'm going through an interview, and I really just think through what I bring to the table. I'm a marketer, so I have a marketing plan for myself that I developed. So I think that really helped me kind of pinpoint exactly what I'm looking for, but also remind myself what I bring to the table and remind myself that you are here because you belong, and there is a lot that I can bring to the table. And to your point, it really does come down to it's kind of like a perfect match, right? It's not just what you bring, but also what they bring and what they bring for you and what it means for you. So I had my list of, the must-haves, and then I had a list of like, oh, that would be nice to have as well. But I think having a very clear strategy around that really helped. I also have what I call a hit list. So I was very strategic about the companies that I wanted to work with and that I wanted to interview with. So that's how I knew that they were kind of like the right or along the lines of what I was looking for.
How did you develop that list?
A lot of research, CB Insights, Crunchbase, and just going through a list of, I first narrowed down what I wanted to do, like the industry that I wanted to be in. And then from there, I just started looking at the list of the companies. And then from there, just doing a lot of research on my own, like which are the companies that aligned with my mission.
Mm-hmm. And last question, and you didn't know you were going to be totally put on the spot today, but I'm just so pleased to see somebody getting work and coming back and telling us about it. Marketing plan for yourself. I think this could absolutely be its own topic, its own, like we could do something much bigger on this, but how do you develop that? And just sort of generally, what did that look like for you?
Yeah, my marketing plan, first of all, has, what you would have on top of every single marketing plan, which is your strengths. And like I said, just what you bring to the table, but then also thinking about, what's your elevator pitch, your 3 minute, what do you want people to know about yourself? And then like a long version of that, right? Like then you can really start to develop what that looks like, and what are the pieces that that you want people to know, and that included performance based results, right? So really having like bullets of like, these are the biggest achievements that I've had, and being very results driven, having the numbers. I think it's important, and knowing your numbers of what you brought to, the results that you brought to the company. And then I also have on that list, in that marketing plan, what I was thinking about in terms of what I'm looking for next in my next role.
What about putting yourself out there? Like, were you posting consistently on LinkedIn or, and did you get this job through a cold application or an introduction from somebody?
It was through an introduction, but my strategy was to come up with the hit list. And then once I had that hit list, I was scouting through LinkedIn. I call myself a LinkedIn whore because I'm all over LinkedIn and looking for people that are connected to that list, and then really trying to make connections through that. And this was somebody that I knew that was at that company that made the connection.
Okay. And how did you reach out to them?
Cold call, just LinkedIn. Hey, I'm looking for a role, and here's what I'm looking for. And he actually, he was an ex coworker of mine, so he immediately reached out and he said, "Oh, actually, I was thinking about you. There is going to be openings in marketing," and so he made the connection.
Fabulous. I could not have planned this better, because that is a great segue to the person I'm going to be highlighting next. Jessica, you were freaking awesome. I loved your daughter's affirmation. If you feel comfortable, like taking a photograph, I mean, like, you should post it, tag it, we'll share it. I think everyone should make that for themselves, or put their kids to work. So, and have them make it for them. So congratulations to you. And thank you for sharing your
Thank
story.
you for letting me share.
Yay. So I just also want to give a heads up to everybody. This is going to be a small group today, because we did not, I decided to have a Sunday to myself and not send out the newsletter to remind people about today. So you notice it's 38. Usually we get closer to 75 to 100, and we often have about 200 RSVPs. So just letting everybody know here, this is probably going to be the group, but I think I believe in fate. And so there's a reason we all happen to be here. And I actually we may do breakouts, but we might just keep it us and really try to figure out how we as the 38 can help each other. Speaking of helping each other, I just want to throw this over to Lexi, who I coached, but that's not why I'm having her on here to talk about me. It's about her process. She did something very cool, which was really, and this goes off of what Jessica was saying, of tapping into her network. But not just tapping into her network, giving her network something that they could easily either use or copy and paste to go help her find connections, right? So it's not just, who you know, but how do we tap into who they know? And I actually want to do a screen share in a minute of what she wrote. I also can share it with everybody by email afterwards, because I think if we can emulate what Lexi did, of how she's activating her network to help her find opportunities, this is going to be, it's going to be everything. Again, I didn't plan Jessica to come up and say that she was able to get her job opportunity through somebody she knew, but the fact that she did, just illustrates my point beautifully. But Lexi, can I just jump? I'm going to ask it on you, and I will bring you up to the screen. If you want to talk about what you do, your process. I know it's been a winding road. You're still on the road looking for work, although I think you do have an opportunity right now that you are working on. So yeah, just talk to me about top level lessons maybe you've learned in this process. Again, I know you're in the thick of it, but I know you've got wisdom to share. And if you're comfortable, I'm going to go ahead and screen share in a minute of what you wrote about yourself, so people can get inspiration from it.
Yeah, thanks, Claire. So yeah, my name's Lexi. I have been on the job hunt for basically a year now, but officially since September, when I graduated with 2 masters, which was strategic in trying to help myself get a job. Although, we're still trying to get a job. So I have had quite a process of ups and downs. But what really kind of keeps me anchored is my organization in tracking every single job that I've applied to, jobs that I'm looking at. I have a list of companies, kind of like the hit list that Jessica was talking about, that I will check their site periodically. Aside from that, like Claire mentioned, I do feel like I have a pretty great network at this point, even though I'm early in my career. My university has a great network. And in effort of trying to reach more folks, I, with Claire's coaching, created what I call a pass along email, which basically, and I will tell you how I made it. because it's really easy using AI. AI, artificial intelligence, has actually been a huge part of my job search as of lately. And yeah, it's a fabulous jumping off point. It's a fabulous organizational tool, which I can talk more about as well. But so I used AI to help me create this message, um, and basically put in all of the jobs that I had applied to into Chat GPT. That's what it was called, and or what it is currently called. And I said, sort these jobs into um, like categories of like industry and position type. And that from that, I was able to get a good list that kind of did a super summary of everything I'm looking for, because I feel like I do have quite a wide range. I can share my screen, Claire, if you'd like. I have it open. Okay.
Yep, I'm gonna go ahead and make you a co-host. So I think you can do
It
that.
might already be. Yeah, I got it.
And I
So,
AI for this. This is great.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've been using AI a lot recently, and it's really just like I said, it's a jumping off point. You can be like, write me an email about this to this person, make sure you mention this, and it'll populate the email. I go back in and I add my voice to it, and maybe some details, and boom. So that's similar to what I did with this. Like I said, I put my whole list of jobs that I have been applying to into the AI, and it came out with these different types of positions. So data analysis and management, research and evaluation, program management, coordination, consulting, and advocacy. And then these are the different industries that were highlighted from there. So and then specific examples of places that I've considered applying to, have applied to, or have interviewed with. Um, yeah, as examples, but also a lot of times people will be like, oh my goodness, have you heard of Mass General Hospital? And I'd be like, yes, I've applied there. So it does save some time.
Yeah.
Um,
You could just hold on. Lexi, give me a quick second. So if you could just scroll up to the very top.
mhm,
So just to let you all know, the email that she sent, so it was a BCC email, and you can talk about how you put your contacts together. Her subject line in the email was, help me find my dream job, seeking career opportunities in public health. We all need to,
mhm,
this is great subject line. Nobody has time, okay? Like, we're all super busy. So if you can just be as clear and as explicit as possible in your subject line about what this email is about and what you're looking for, the action that you're hoping the receiver will take. Doesn't matter that this is a quote long subject line, like this is helpful. And then she has this, super easy explanation. I mean, what she has in the Google Doc, I'm currently looking at in my inbox. Okay. I love where that she has links to her LinkedIn, her website. She put in italic something, the most important thing here is to pass along this email to anyone in the network that's able to assist. She's utilizing bullet points and putting things in bold. She's having, she's spacing, right? Just making it so easy for somebody to take a quick look at this and immediately understand A, what she's looking for, but B, how they can support her. Okay. So I love that to your point of how do we reduce the back and forth time that will inevitably happen here of somebody going, have you heard of this hospital? Yes. Right. So she's like already planning ahead. It's got a little weird that I'm talking about you in like a third person, but Lexi's looking ahead to anticipating what are all the questions I'm probably going to get from this email. How do I be proactive in just addressing them up front so that, again, there's minimal back and forth on both, her end, but also on the person, right? Knowing that we are trying to approach this from a time-saving perspective, because that's the reason I think people don't help is they're like, I can't, like, don't make me think. And on top of having to like take the action, right? Thank you for letting me interject. go forth.
No, thank you. Definitely helpful to give the context to all this detailed information. And then I also made sure to put location preferences. And yeah, Claire, when we had our call, was like, make sure, you're offering something in exchange. So I made sure to say, like, please don't hesitate if I can ever help you in your future endeavors at the end. And yeah, so this was, I've
It
sent
included her
this.
resume, by the way. She also attached her resume.
Oh yeah, attached my resume. And then I am keeping track of who I've sent it to so far. And the one thing I will say though is I got feedback from someone who received this from one of my contacts. And I did have a call with her on Friday. And going back to the marketing, having your own personal marketing plan, the feedback that she gave me was that this is too broad, and she was kind of overwhelmed looking at it, that maybe I need to hone in more, because yeah, this is just a little bit too wide of a scope.
I love, and that's what's so great about not waiting till perfection. Like we have to, the only way we're going to improve is if we get feedback from people. So it's by putting yourself out there. Lexi also could have done something that was super focused and then not, and everybody be like, I can't really help because this is out of, so I kind of like the idea of going wide, at least as a starting point, knowing that you may narrow, and you also could have different drafts for different people, right?
Yeah.
Question from Samantha for you. Lexi, this is amazing. Good for you. How many people do you send this out to, and how frequently are you following up with the folks you've sent this to see if they have come up with anything for you to pass along? By the way, if there's other people who are doing this here, I would love y'all to join in as well. If you have a response to Samantha's really good question. But
Yeah, so I just sent this last week, and only to kind of a preliminary group of folks. I'm not planning to follow. I mean, I should plan to follow back up, but my thought initially was just it would be an ask and people would bite if they would bite. But I suppose I could follow up and be a squeaky wheel. Because I mean, I would say maybe I only got like a 10%, maybe less response rate to this email. So perhaps following up would be a smart move. Maybe just something short and sweet, like just wanted to ping you again, and offering the reciprocal help too. Yeah.
I also would suggest posting about this on your LinkedIn if you haven't already, just to, you may have already, just about the experience of tapping into your network. And because I mean, even right here, like Lori says, why hasn't someone hired you, Lexi, with like exclamation question mark? And she doesn't even, Lori's probably saying that because she's so impressed with your organizational and self-motivation skills, right? So it's not even her saying that because she knows you're really good at your job and your given field. It's about these other kind of skills that you're bringing to the table, right? So being transparent about the process of trying to find work is, it's interesting. So, and I know you've been experimenting with posting more on LinkedIn in general. How's that going?
It's going pretty well. So I haven't posted this or like any sort of tailored version of this to my LinkedIn, but I had a friend that did kind of take this email and tailor it and put it in a post trying to tap into her network. So that was really sweet. And that would be great if more people did that for emails like this. I could maybe even add in that as a call to action, like if you don't mind posting part of this to your LinkedIn, that would also be super helpful. If they don't have anyone specific in mind to pass the email along to.
I think that's follow up. That would be the good
Yeah.
follow up. Because it's like, then you can say, hey, give them the 3 sentences or whatever that you could post on LinkedIn. And by the way, I'd love to do the same thing for you. So you're just getting very focused on an even smaller call to action, right? The big call to action is, do you know anybody who can make an introduction? Small call to action is just a simple copy and paste for LinkedIn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think having those call to actions really clear is important. And even though I tried to make it clear with this italics, maybe it wasn't clear enough to some folks who didn't take the time to read the whole email. So maybe calling that out a little more boldly would help.
Yeah, for sure.
Draft.
Thank you for sharing. I know it's brave to share when you're in the middle of the process. I'm just like, this is life. This is it. Like, it's not waiting till we get the job to say how we did it. It's how are you continuing to survive, in this. And my contact for you at CBS is open to having a call, and we'll be hiring soon. So I got you.
Amazing.
Thank you so much. Any final words of wisdom before I let you off the hot seat?
Yeah, I would think about just different ways that you can get yourself seen. Claire also suggested posting on LinkedIn more. I am not someone who likes to post on social media, but you just kind of put on that, me and my friends call it professional drag. It's not necessarily you. It's like, it's an act. And yeah, so I kind of just not make fun of myself, but I make light of it. I'm like, hot new blog post about to hit LinkedIn, like, get ready. It just, don't take yourself so seriously, and don't be afraid to post on LinkedIn, even if you don't think it's super profound. Like, people will read it, and even if they don't necessarily react, they see it, they see you, and it's just a part of your marketing.
Yeah, I love that. I'm gonna unpin you if that's okay.
Yes.
All right.
Stop
Thank
sharing.
you. I also want to there we go. Okay. I am loving the conversation in the chat. I mean, we got a question though, or at least a statement from Lori, who had said, wait, is it Lori? Or maybe, she deleted it, I think. Yeah, that she was terrified of posting on LinkedIn. Oh, here she goes. Yeah, I'm still kind of terrified of posting on LinkedIn. Lori, do you want to talk a little bit? I don't know if you want to come to the screen and like
sure
journey as well.
Sure, hold on. I'll turn on my video one sec. Let's see. Start the video. All right. Hey.
Yeah, I'm gonna put screen. Here we go.
It doesn't feel very authentic to me, since I'm not someone that already posts on LinkedIn. It feels like I'm just being kind of self-serving. I had lost my job in 2020 at the very beginning of the pandemic. Took me a year to find a job. Since then, I've had 2 jobs, but just recently got laid off again. And I'm on LinkedIn all the time, just to keep up with industry trends and news and see what people and friends are doing. And I see all of the various posts. I'm open to work, blah, blah, got laid off. And it's just like over and over again. So I haven't done that yet. I'm hesitant about the open to work banner. I still put it up there, back up this weekend. And I've been thinking of, do I want to do that? I'm open to work post. I've lost my job again, and how to approach it and not sound, but put some thought into it and not sound cliche and just another, I'm open to work, I lost my job like everybody else in the world. And then just back to, I was kind of sidetracked there, but back to, I'm not a regular poster, so it just feels just kind of not that authentic. And I'm just here to asking you for something. And it just it doesn't feel right. And that's where I'm at. It's just, I'm not that person. Like, I can be, I want to be, but I feel like it's more for me also too about like work/life balance in a way. Like, I don't want to spend all my time posting on socials. I'd rather be out there living my life, not posting about it. So a little bit comes from that, and I'll stop now.
Oh, that everything you said, guys, like I don't want to say listen, I'm successful, ladies get paid successful, but we're not bigger because I have a resistance to posting on social media. I mean, because everyone's like, you should be on TikTok. Obviously I should be, but I fully am with you, only I'd rather live my life and it feels self-serving. However, even in hearing myself say these words, and I'm going to give advice to myself, which is advice I'm giving to you, think about all the people who could benefit from hearing from you. So what is the value you can bring, right? So in your story, in your experience, in the I'm looking for work, how do we then turn that post into something that gives wisdom, hope, inspiration, anything to another person? So it's that balance of, yes, this is me and what I'm looking for, and a very clear call to action of how to help me. But in this post that I'm serving you, you are also getting something from it. So even things like, I mean, it's kind of just getting really meta about it, right? So in Lexi's, even her own experience, right? She's posting, hey, can y'all copy and paste this and help promote what I'm doing? But I would hope that that post she puts up, it's telling people that they should do this for themselves too, right? So, hey, I'm posting this so that you guys can see what I'm looking for, but I also want to inspire people so that they do this for themselves, because I know it can be really hard for us to ask for help, right? So then the post becomes way more profound, because it's about, why is it so hard to ask for help? Or why does posting about ourselves feel like we're, quote, bragging? And way more people will be receptive to that, because you're tapping into something that's universal, right? Where they're like, okay, I see myself in you. That's making me feel less alone. So your posts are going to hopefully do double duty of expressing your need and how someone can help you, while also, again, providing some sort of value to another person. So I would say, like, that's the challenge for you and for all of us, is whatever post that you like think you should make on social, how do we turn it into something that also can help somebody else? You're going to be way more likely and motivated to actually post that, because now it's about, how do I, connect with other people and make them feel less alone? How do I, give them inspiration or advice? Or again, I'm still dealing, again, you don't have to have all the answers, but people are just looking to know they're not alone and for some sort of guidance in any capacity, right? So here, like, even, Lexi saying, I've got messages from people thanking me for my posts on LinkedIn, that they resonated with them. And then that will become the motivation that keeps you going, as opposed to having to constantly get yourself back up on the horse. You'll, I think, begin to look forward to wanting to post these things, because it's a way of connecting with other people in that more sort of profound way. So I hope that was helpful. And of course, having some kind of schedule, where it's sit down and just make a list of, 5 topics for the week that you can write just a couple of sentences on that you think are interesting. Write them, just sit down and do like 2 hours where you just write it all out, and then you can just post it and it'll take you 2 seconds, as opposed to every day having to sit down, come up with the idea and post it. So is there a way that you can systematize this where it just goes a lot faster and you don't have to rely on this like willpower, because that's so much harder to muster every day? So that's kind of my advice, of like higher purpose, turning posts into how to help others, and systematizing. But that is myself as much as it is to you.
Well, no, thank you. That helps. Now, can you just come sit your butt right next to me and like kick me?
Well, that's what these are for. And yeah, I mean, we should do more, I also love, I'm obsessed with, if it's really hard to do something, can you try to do it in a different environment? So could you just walk down the street and talk into your phone and come up with the ideas that way? Or lie down on your bed and type into your phone the idea, right? Because if sitting in front of your computer is making it harder, then just change up the conditions in which you try to do it, right? And check out focusmate.com. That's where they just pair you with random people, and you can just do 25-minute, 55 and 75, I think. No, 25, 75 and 90-minute sessions with people. It's $5 a month, I think. Yeah, I would say turning posts into value for others. Question, somebody had asked about open for work banner. I don't want to seem frantic or desperate. This is when I want to bring on somebody else who is an expert in that, because I recommend that people do it. I mean, why not? LinkedIn's here for people to find each other, and it makes it easy for somebody to know that you're open for work. Does it seem frantic or desperate? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure. I honestly have no answer for that.
No. I say
What do you
no.
think? Yeah.
I
Lexi,
was gonna,
Lori, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I know early on in the pandemic, when they first developed the open to work banner, that's when they did it. At some point, like not at the very beginning, after they did it, there was an argument for not having it and I forget what that argument was, but that's still stuck in my head. Like there was this whole strategy, don't have it because of these reasons. I just don't remember what those were. But things have changed. Things are different than 2020. And I think there's almost even a lot more people unemployed, it feels like, going through it for a second time, like myself.
Candace, did you have something to say? I see your hand is up. I don't know if you meant to.
Oh, yes. I wanted to add to the conversation about LinkedIn and posting. And it's so funny you had mentioned something about FocusMate. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. One thing you can also do is kind of curate content. So if there's an article that you like or that resonates with you, you can kind of talk about that, or just, say I found this interesting, or I've tried this particular thing and it's worked for me. So I actually posted last week about FocusMate and body doubling. And I linked to an article and just had a brief blurb about, how it's helped me. And, and so I have that same thing about posting on LinkedIn. So I do have to push myself to do it, but that's one way to do it where you're not creating all of the content yourself. You're kind of curating content that's already out there. So I think that might be a good stepping stone for people who might be, maybe intimidated by LinkedIn. And that goes for me as well. This is the advice for myself as well. So I just wanted to share that.
Brilliant.
And FocusMate is great too. My friend told me about it, and it's great to just have someone, virtually there with you, and you're just there to complete a task. So it, holds me accountable.
Such a good idea. Thank you so much for bringing up the, you don't just have to post original stuff. It can be curation of other people's. And what's smart about that is if you're sharing from somebody else's profile, / tagging / commenting, that's tapping into those people's networks as well. So there's also, just for strategic reasons, that's really smart. I'm so glad you shared that. I'm loving this. Let's just keep it, we got the small group today. Anyone else want to share what they're going through right now, or a piece of wisdom in the messiness of this process? I also have a little exercise I was going to have everybody do, but before we jump into that, I do want to cede the floor to anyone who's.
I do have one other thing kind of going along with what Candace was saying. I was introduced to this community via a private message through LinkedIn, but I think I posted about it last week or the week before of, I talked to this person and I went to this networking group. I think that instead of keeping that in a private message, posting about it openly, that would open this community or, other things that are working to a larger audience. So I think that's something that I'm actually going to do today. This is one thing that I did today on my job seeking search is I had a chat with you all.
Yeah, I mean, that's so, again, and you'll tag Ladies Get Paid and we have all these followers and I'm going to reshare it. And again, that's strategic and smart, and yes. And it takes motivation to do that and time. So I appreciate you sharing that and following through on it. Let me just share with you this exercise that I read about the other night that I think is just so brilliant. It's from a book called Why Has Nobody Told Me This Before? Has anyone read it? It's by a woman named Dr. Julie Smith. She's British, has a huge following. I'm very inspired by her. And I'm going to copy and paste this into the chat. Hopefully it works. Let's just see, although there'll be a number of you watching this after the fact. Okay, let me tell you about this. So the exercise that she gives in this book is, imagine that a miracle has happened and that the problems that you have been struggling with all disappear. Answer the following questions. What would be the first signs that the problem has gone? What would you do differently? What would you say yes to? What would you say no to? What would you focus your energy and attention on? What would you do more or less of? How would you interact with people differently? How would you structure your life differently? How would you speak to yourself differently? And lastly, what would you be free to let go of? Okay, so I want us to take some time to explore our answers to these questions and really writing down like the finest detail of those small changes that you would make to your everyday life. Okay, so I'm just going to read you what she said about this exercise. Dr. Julie Smith says, this is a great exercise for creating a vision of where you are heading. It also helps you to explore the idea of how life might be improved by starting to make some of those changes now, even with the problems still present. Okay. And I think also it's going to unveil, we're going to learn something about ourselves. And I know the big problem that a lot of you might want to write down is, I have a job. Okay. And that's fine. But maybe we could think a little bit smaller than that, just because that's reliant on somebody else to give us that job. And we're going to do the best we can to put ourselves in a position of being hired. So if that's where your mind is first going, I'm going to then challenge you and say, could there be something else? What would be the first sign that the problem has gone? And there's no wrong answer to this at all. I want to be clear. I also think whatever instinctually comes up for you is going to be very interesting. Instinct, I find, is forever fascinating. So take a moment. I'm going to press pause on this recording because there's a number of people who are watching this after the fact. So let's just take a moment here to do a little bit of that exercise, and then let's share. And if you have questions about how to answer these questions, if you need some structure and guidance, I'm going to help you through that as well. But I think for us coming out of today with just a couple of tangible steps that we can hold ourselves accountable to that will help us work towards solving this problem in our life, that to me is what Monday Motivation is all about, right? The tangible, actionable, small steps of change. So again, imagining that the problems you've been struggling with all disappear, how would you answer those questions that I put in the chat? I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording or pause the recording for the time being. Okay, now that we have taken some time to go through these good questions that help indicate just next steps of small actions we can take to start creating, the everyday life that we want, so that we're not just waiting for the job to give us the life we want. We need to be okay now. Okay. So I would love to invite anybody who feels comfortable in walking us through their responses to these questions. Is there somebody who's brave and wants to just read out loud how they responded, to it? And that's okay if you're not feeling it either. I'm also happy to just talk through it on my own with myself in front of you all. Go ahead.
I can talk. So I posted that I would have less anxiety and have dreams that aren't related to job search. And that is it sounds funny. And when I'm talking about it in real life, I'm laughing about it. But I really do have dreams almost every night about like job searching, and they're just like super wild, but it is like totally related to what I am feeling in real life of, okay, I'm waking up thinking about, this is what I'm going to do throughout the day with my job search. This is how I'm going to work on upskilling. When I'm going to sleep, I'm thinking about what I'm going to do the next day. So like all of these like anxieties and these wild dreams that I'm having about the job search, they're very real. Like, you know, my I guess like defense mechanism or whatever is through a lens of humor. That's how I walk through life, is through laughing through it. But like all of this is really tied to like real anxieties and real things. But it really does help to come to a group like this where people are so open and real and know that like, okay, well, I talk to like people in real life about how I'm not really like on social media. That's not me. I don't live my life from behind a screen or behind a phone. Like I put my phone down and I look at life. Like that's how I live my life. So when, you know, everyone's saying like LinkedIn posting and, you know, doing things on LinkedIn, it doesn't really feel like me. Yeah, I feel the same way. But like, I think just doing it, people don't know to help you unless they know that you need the help, if that makes sense. If everyone else is doing it, what's the harm in us doing it too? You know, like even if it doesn't feel genuine or it feels fake, who cares? Like the open to work banner, even if it does seem desperate, if that's what a recruiter thinks, then is that maybe the best environment? That's kind of what I've been thinking, like trying to really look at like the positive side of things. And I know I really went like from 0 to 100, but
That was
but
helpful.
that's my
Super helpful, super helpful. And yeah, I do think it's a balance of finding or like feeling pride in doing it, right? So turning your post into something of value, but there's also that quote professional drag that Lexi said earlier of you just got to put on a different hat a little bit. And so this is like Nisha or like looking for work. And this is what I have to do as that character. Right. So it is a balance, and then creating a routine where you're making it easier for yourself to actually do it. So if there's an action that you already take every day, let's say it's you go and, you know, make coffee every morning, couple that activity with this new thing that you want to do, right? So holding yourself accountable to posting on LinkedIn, post it while your coffee is being made. Right. So, I mean, that's just sort of like habit building 101 of coupling or bundling a current activity you already do with this new thing that you want to do. And that'll just help guarantee that you actually follow through. So again, it's this balance of, you know, psyching yourself up to do it, but also making it easier for you to actually follow through and do it. And I'm seeing there's people resonating. I just want to, and thank you for sharing. One thing I want to just break down for folks here a little bit is in however you answered those questions, is there a way that you can turn each of the responses you had into a super finite, tiny action that you can hold yourself accountable? Okay. So for example, because it's a huge thing, Anita said, what would be the first sign that the problem is gone? That she wouldn't feel like she was running out of time. Oh my God, that's massive. How does that actually happen? Could you just like break that down into its tiniest piece? I mean, right now she kind of already did. What would you do differently? I would cook more, I would exercise more, I would travel more, but those are huge things. You know, what it takes to get organized and motivated to cook, there's a lot of elements, exercising, traveling, right? So breaking it down into its smallest, tiniest components, I would say is a really great next step for anybody here in figuring out how to actually follow through and hold yourself accountable to making this change. It's not waiting until you feel motivated, because that's just like waiting for a job to give you happiness. We don't have time. Life could end in a second. Right now, in this moment, what can you do or think differently, again, in its tiniest component, that will help create the condition of motivation? And one way of doing this is to start doing something that shows you that you are capable. And this is very simple. Just go for a walk every day for 10 minutes outside. That's it. That's it. And it's proving to yourself that you are able to follow through even when you don't feel like it. You were able to take a small step, just 10 minutes every day, right? And that's going to now make motivation to make change in other ways of your life that much easier, because you've already proven to yourself that you can do it. Low stakes, small steps. Really great. Loving all the sharing here. Great. We got 4 minutes left. It was a little bit of a different session today than other times. So if you were new to this, a lot of times it's me giving a more sort of like formal 20-minute speech with networking breakouts. Stay tuned though. We're going to keep changing this stuff up. May turn these into sometimes, working sessions where we're coming together and we all got our cover letters and we're going around and workshopping it, in real time together. So whatever I can do to help you, follow me on Instagram. It's probably a great place to begin. Claire Gets Paid, as well as Ladies Get Paid. Same thing on LinkedIn. And I'm also great. Samantha, thank you for sharing. She said, I'm so glad I joined this webinar this afternoon. I really needed this. Love these perspectives. I've been looking for a new job off and on for 6 years, y'all. And while I've come close in several instances, no luck. I've started and stopped dozens of times due to exhaustion, feeling defeated, feeling motivated once again, due to everyone sharing amazing ideas. So great. I wonder, Samantha, maybe do we need to have you create your own business? I do feel like some folks, if a full-time job is not sticking, it could be you need to be a business owner. Wonder if that's a direction you've thought of. And hey, maybe that'll be a future session of, starting our own businesses, giving ourselves the opportunities if no one else will. Any first time, great you joined. Thank you for, you missed the first half hour. Oh, okay. Well, just in the follow-up, I will send Lexi's template of how she is tapping into her network, getting them to help her. And I know she talked about Chat GPT as well, but we do these every Monday, so we can drill in. There's a lot that we talked about today that I feel like could be their own sessions. Okay, voiceover acting on the side. Okay. I think one thing I'll take away from today's session is why not me? Ooh, Robin, could I have you close out today? I feel like there's a lot of wisdom in that takeaway. Would you be open to just unmuting yourself and closing us out? Okay.
Can you hear me? Oh, there it is. My video wasn't working. Yes. So as you were asking, like what tiny step that you can take to sort of resolve things, like get started, I was thinking a lot of us sort of have this imposter syndrome. And I was thinking about it all throughout today's, we're all nervous. We're all like hateful of the situation that we're in for X reason, doesn't matter. But we're all trying to figure out, how are we worthy? And instead of trying to say, how is it that we are worthy and trying to put that on paper, we should start asking ourselves, why not me? Because I am worthy. I have a lot of experience. You don't know what my experience is. So instead of thinking, how am I worthy? It's how can I tell somebody that I am worthy?
Yeah. Yay. I love it. I have to just tell you guys something. I genuinely believe that the things that make us different and the setbacks we've experienced in life are all the things that actually can help us excel and get us noticed. Life experience, like no one has your life experience, literally no one. No one has your perspective, your voice. So I love shifting that, what you just said about, it's not like, am I worthy or why, it's why not me? It's true. Like what you bring to the table, to the team, whoever ends up hiring you, they've never felt your dynamic before and your perspective and the way that you approach things and your patience, and you like, no one can take that from you. So yeah, I do think figuring out how do I best express that is probably great for our next topic. So I appreciate you setting that up. And that was a beautiful way to close it out. Thank you, Robin. Thank you all. We are at time, but stay, open up your emails because I'll be sending the recording and Lexi's great template. Stay tuned for more. Well, not just more. I'll see you next Monday. You got this, guys. Lots of love.